Welcome back, friends, with the news of 28th May from the newspaper The Hindu. And if you are preparing for any government examination, you can visit our website isbio.com or exammap.com, or you can contact us on our WhatsApp number. So let's start the video. First topic is anticipatory bail. So in the Section 438 of CRPC, that is Code of Criminal Procedure, deals with the direction for grant of bail to a person arrest. So it states that when a person has reason to believe that he may be arrested on accusation of having committed on a non-bailable offence, and he may apply to the High Court or the Court of Session, that is Session Courts, for a direction under this section, and the court may, if it thinks fit, direct it in the event of such arrest and shall be released on the bail. So the high frequency of arbitrary and heavy-handed arrest to the harass or humiliate citizens, and often at the interest of powerful individuals, led to the enactment of section 48. So the provision empowers only session courts or high courts to grant the anticipatory bail, and the significance of this bail is that the section of 438 in the code was parliamentary acceptance of crucial underpinning of personal liberty in a free and democratic country, and parliament wished to foster respect for personal liberty and accord primacy to a fundamental tenet of criminal jurisprudence, and everyone is presumed to be innocent till he or she is found guilty. So life and liberty are cherished attributes of every individual, and the urge for the freedom is a natural to each human being. Next topic is Miss C. So multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children is a condition where different body parts can become inflamed, including heart, lungs, kidneys, brain, skin, eyes, or gastrointestinal organs. So, children with Miss C may have a fever and various symptoms, including abdominal, that is gut pain, vomiting, diarrhea, neck pain, rash, bloodshot eyes, or feeling extra tired, and still the causes of Miss C are not known. So, however, many children with this had virus that causes COVID-19 or had been around some with COVID-19. So, since June 2020, several cases reports and series have reported a similar multi-system inflammatory syndrome in adults also. That is Miss A. Next topic is Insurance FDI rules. So new rules amends to the Insurance Act 1938 to increase the maximum foreign investment allowed in Indian insurance company. So it increases the limit on foreign investments in an Indian insurance company from 49% to 74%, and it removes restrictions on the ownership and control. While the control will go to the foreign companies, the majority of directors and key management persons will be resident Indians and who will covered by the law of land. So the significance is that insurance penetration currently stands at just 3.71% of the GDP, and higher investment will help increase penetration of products in an underserved market, and it will also bring in the global best practices, besides helping lower the cost of products due to greater competition. Next topic is quantitative easing, that is QE, refers to unconventional monetary policy in which a central bank purchases government securities or other securities from the market in order to lower interest rates or increase the money supply. So what is quantitative easing? Is that central bank purchases government securities or other securities from the market in order to lower the interest rates and increase the money supply. So it increases the money supply by flooding financial institutions with capital in an effort to promote increased lending and liquidity, and it is typically implemented when interest rates are already near to zero, because at this point central banks have fewer tools to influence economic growth and does not involve the printing of new bank notes. So the reason for it, that like it lowering interest rates, so quantitative easing is supposed to stimulate economy by encouraging banks to make more loans, and raises stock prices, lower interest rates, which in turn boosts investment, and it can also boost economic activity by raising confidence. Next topic is forensic audit. So SEBI is looking to appoint auditors for conducting forensic audits of financial statements of listed companies as a part of efforts to curb frauds. So in recent months, SEBI has ordered forensic audit of certain companies. So what is forensic audit? It examines and evaluates a firm's or individual's financial records to derive evidence used in court of law or legal proceeding, and it is a specialization within accounting, and most large accounting firms have a forensic auditing department, and it covers a wide range of investigative activities, and it is often conducted to prosecute a party for fraud, embezzlement, and other financial crimes. And in the process of forensic audit, the auditor may called to serve as an expert witness during trial proceedings, and it could also involve situations that do not include financial fraud, such as disputes related to bankruptcy filings, business closures, and divorces. Committee on Hate Speech. So there is no clear definition of hate speech in the IPC, and the Committee for Reforms in Criminal Laws is attempting for the first time to define such speech. So the committee is expected to submit its report soon, and the suggestion received by the Committee for Reforms in Criminal Laws will be examined by the Ministry before the changes are adopted. So the Bureau of Police Research and Development recently published a manual for investigating agencies on cyber harassment cases that defined hate speech as a language that denigrates, insults, threatens, or targets individual based on their identity and other traits such as sexual orientation or disability or religion, etc. So the Vishwanathan Committee, earlier in 2018, Home Ministry had written to Law Commission to prepare a distinct law for online hate speech, acting on a report by committee which is headed by former Lok Sabha Secretary General T.K. Vishwanathan, and who recommended stricter laws. So the committee formed in the wake of Section 66A of the Information Technology Act 2000 that provided punishment for sending offensive messages through communication services, being scrapped by Supreme Court in 2015. Next topic is sero service. So serological survey was meant to detect whether the person being tested had developed antibodies against coronavirus. So it is not possible to test everyone. Detecting antibodies in random sets of people is an indirect way of estimating the extent of disease spread in the community. So the antibodies are proteins produced by immune system to fight external organisms like viruses try to enter the body, and these are produced only after the infection has happened. So they're specific to the attacking virus or bacterium. So the presence of antibodies therefore is an indication that an infection by that particular virus or bacterium has already occurred. So the subsequent attempts to infect the body can be thwarted by the antibodies. So what does vaccines then? So vaccines work in a similar manner, wherein they inject harmless doses of a virus or a bacterium inside the human body to trigger the production of antibodies by the immune system, and these antibodies can then fight off an actual attack by those viruses or bacteria. So there is a question that, and does or do Antibodies ensure immunity. So the presence of antibodies does not mean that the person is protected against disease. It is the amount of antibodies present and whether it also includes what are known as neutralizing antibodies, which actually fight the disease. So there is a term what is herd immunity. So it is a stage of epidemic in which some members of population of group remain protected from infection because a majority of those some remain protected and majority of those around them are already developed immunity either through vaccination or because they have infected earlier. So once a certain proportion of population gets infected, it builds immunity against the disease and epidemic begins to slow down and eventually stop. So no one clearly knows the percentage of population needs to be infected people before herd immunity kicks, and it is different for different disease and different population groups. Next topic is Directorate General of Civil Aviation, that is DGCA. It is a statutory body formed under the Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020, and this directorate investigates aviation accidents and incidents, maintains all regulations related to aviation, and responsible for issuance of license pertaining to aviation like PPLs, SPLs, and CPLs in India. So headquarters is along Aurobindo Marg, opposite Safdarjung Airport in New Delhi, and the Government of India is planning to replace organization with Civil Aviation Authority model on the lines of the American Federal Aviation Administrator. Next topic is National Mission on Use of Biomass in Thermal Power Plants. So the objectives of this to increase the level of co-firing from present 5% to higher levels, to have a larger share of carbon neutral power generation from the thermal power plants, and to take up research and development activity in boiler design to handle higher amount of silica alkalis in biomass pellets, and to facilitate overcoming the constraints in the supply chain of biomass pellets, and to consider issues in the biomass co-firing. So the features of this, that the mission would have a steering committee headed by secretary comprising of all stakeholders including representatives from Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas and the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and the executive committee would be headed by member thermal, and the duration of proposed national mission would be minimum 5 years. Next topic is Expert Committee on Investment Fund. So the committee has been constituted under the chairmanship of Nilesh Shah, MD Kotak Mahindra, MD of Kotak Mahindra Assessment Management Corporation Limited, and the committee comprises of leaders from the entire fund management ecosystem, including from areas such as technology, distribution, legal, and compliance in operations. And the terms of references of the expert committee to recommend IFSCA on a long-term vision, and to make recommendations with the respect to structure of investment, and to identify issues that may be critical for development of investment funds industry, and any other relevant items on building ecosystem, on asset management, hedge funds, sovereign funds, and etc. Next topic is National Disaster Response Force Academy, NDRFA, that it was established in the year 2018 at Nagpur by merging with it National Civil Defence College. The main campus of the academy is under the construction, and the academy presently imparts training to the National Disaster Response Force (NDRF) and State Disaster Response Force and civil defense volunteers, and the other stakeholders is envisages to grow into a premier training institutions of international repute. So it will also provide specialized training to disaster response personnel of SARC and other countries, and with the creation of post of director, the command and control of the organization will be entrusted to senior and experienced officers. Next topic is Buddha Purnima. So Vesak is the most sacred day for Buddhists around the world. It is also known as Buddha Purnima or Buddha Day. So the day commemorates birth, enlightenment and death of Lord Buddha and the founder of Buddhism, all of which is said to have taken place on the same day. So it falls on the full moon day, that is Purnima of the month Vesak, that is May, and has the occasion of refers as Buddha Purnima in India. So the recognition by United States, the General Assembly, by its regulation in 1919, recognized internationally the day of Vesak, and it was done to acknowledge the contribution that Buddhism made to humanity. Thank you, class.